get ready for a quick quest guide for the Shilo Village Quest, in which the main rewards for completing are access to Shilo Village, 3,875 crafting experience, and 2 quest points. Before taking on this quest, you'll need to have completed both the Druidic Ritual and the Jungle Potion quest. In terms of skill levels, you'll need level 20 crafting and level 32 agility, and while level 45 combat is recommended, know that it's not essential. In terms of items, you'll need lots of your general tools, including a hammer, a chisel, a spade, a rope, and a lit candle, and you can buy all of these at Jimanua's jungle store in northwestern Karumja, though note that you will need to buy a tinderbox too in order to light the candle. You can also buy a bronze bar here, which with level 4 smithing can be turned into the bronze wire that you'll need for the quest at the anvil slightly southeast. Finally, you'll also need 3 regular bones for this quest as well. Now there's lots of running involved in this quest, so I recommend weight reducing armor if you have access to it, as well as 2 stamina and 2 super energy potions. Additionally, you will want to bring along an anti-poison potion, as there's a decent chance that you'll be poisoned during this quest. You'll also need a weapon, armor, and food for running past aggressive level 73 monsters, and to defeat a boss that has 3 forms at level 91, 68, and 93. Note that this boss can be safe spotted, so consider magic or ranged gear for this, particularly if you're lower leveled. Also ensure that you have 1 empty inventory space at the quest start. In terms of teleports, if you have access to fairy rings, then definitely bring along a Dramen or a Lunar staff along to make use of them. Then if you've completed the Type Rho Wannai trio quest, then you'll be able to use Type Rho Wannai teleport scrolls, and I suggest 4 of these if you don't have access to fairy rings, and 2 of them if you do. If like me you don't have access to any of this, then you'll need to do a bit more running, and also bring along a charged Amulet of Glory too. Now you can begin this quest at the entrance to Shilo Village, which is located in southern Karumja. You'll want to start by talking to Mossol Ray. First ask, why do I need to run? Before then asking, Rashilia, who is she? And after learning that she's the queen of the undead, ask, what can we do? Afterwards say, I'll go see the shaman, and then finally end the dialogue with, yes, I'm sure, and I'll take the wampum belt to Trufitus. Now if you've completed the Type Rho Wannai trio quest, then you'll want to use the teleport scroll to teleport to Type Rho Wannai village. If like me you haven't, then you've got some running to do. First west and then quite a ways north. You will want to head to Trufitus, who's located in his house just northeast of the Type Rho Wannai village. Once you arrive at his little hut, use the wampum belt on Trufitus, and after talking to him a bit ask, Mossol Ray said something about a legend. And after a bit more dialogue ask, do you know anything more about the temple? Before then saying, tell me more. After this, you'll want to say, I am going to search for Azarun, which is a temple, and next you'll want to select yes to officially begin the quest. Now run all the way east to the log crossing along the river and cross it, before then running south until you see a mound of earth. Make sure you have some energy and that your run is on, and then start by searching the mound of earth, and once you're done, use your spade on the mound of earth to turn it into a fissure. Next, being careful not to extinguish it, use your lit candle on the fissure, and after this use your rope on the fissure, before then searching the fissure and selecting yes to go down it. Next, run southwest until you see a cave-in, trying to avoid the aggressive monsters. Search this cave-in and quickly select yes to wriggle through the rubble before you're attacked. Next, run all the way north until you approach a bend, and then look along the western wall for some loose rocks that you will want to search. Choose yes to move the rocks and see what's behind them, and you will acquire a tattered scroll. Note that you can fail and take a small amount of damage, so be sure to be healed up for this. Before moving on, read, or as we all do, pretend to read the tattered scroll before closing the dialogue. Now continue running through the dungeon, going east a bit and then southeast until you come to a small fork. Go into the southeastern fork that is obviously a small dead end and search the old sacks to find a crumpled scroll. Once again, pretend to read it. Now continue through the dungeon by running all the way north through the long path until until you're behind the ancient gallows. Search the gallows and then select the second option to try and search for something else in order to acquire the Zadamus corpse. Now you need to head back to Trufitus. The Tybro Wannai village teleport scroll is very handy here, but as I don't have access to that, I'm using a glory teleport to Karamja and running from there. It'll be a bit of a trek, but once you arrive back to Trufitus, you'll want to use all 3 of the items you've just acquired on him. Note that when you use the corpse on Trufitus, be sure to then ask, is there any sacred ground around here? Once you're done chatting, run a tiny bit west until you're in front of a tribal statue and then bury Zadamus's corpse, sparking his spirit to appear in front of you, who will now aid you with a cryptic clue, and after this happens, you'll then find a bone shard. Run back to Trufitus and use the bone shard on him, whereby you'll ask him to take a look at it. Then say, it appeared when I buried Zadamus's corpse, before then adding, he said something after he gave it to me. Then finally tell Trufitus, the spirit said something about keys and kin. Next, you'll need to cover a decent amount of distance running to Khan Isle, and once you get to the base, you'll need to climb some rocks before running across the bridge and praying that you don't fall in. If you do fall in, then sadly you'll need to run back and give it another go. Also be careful here because you can take some pretty high damage from falling off the bridge. Once you reach Khan Isle, head north and search the well-stacked rocks before saying, yes please, I can think of nothing nicer, then crawling into the hole. Again, you can fail this and take some damage, but with any luck you'll end up in the cave. Now run south and make sure you have 3 empty inventory spots available. Before long you'll come across a dolmen which you'll then want to search, finding a sword pommel, a locating crystal, and Barivius's notes. Now use your chisel on the sword pommel to make bone beads, before then using the bronze wire on the bone beads to create a necklace called the Beads of the Dead. Pop on that necklace and it's time to get out of there by climbing up the rocks around the middle of the cave. Just be careful as you can fail and take some damage, so consider teleporting out if you're low on health. Now it is time for the boss fight, so if you need to restock some supplies, now is the time. Once you're ready, you'll need to travel to northeastern Karamja. If you have access to fairy rings, then you can use the nearby CKR ring to teleport to the DKP ring, which will land you so close to where you need to be, so definitely consider making use of that. Alternatively, another Tybro Wannai village teleport can get you about half of the way that you need to be. If you don't have access to fairy rings and the Tybro Wannai village teleport and you aren't restocking, then cross back over the bridge from Khan Isle to return to Karamja's mainland before running northeast to the log bridge. Once across, then continue north, and around the northern jungle you'll want to look for some very intensely bright green looking palm trees. Search the palms to find some carved doors, which you'll then want to search. Next, use your chisel with your bone shard to create a bone key, and then use the key with the carved doors to open them. Now ensure that you're wearing your Beads of the Dead and then go inside. Go through the southern gate and climb down the rocks before taking the western path. When you reach another fork, go south before taking the path that branches out to the west until you reach the tomb doors. Being careful not to bury them, use your 3 bones with the door, after which you'll want to go through it. Brace yourself for the boss fight and then search the dolmen, prompting the first stage to begin. Defeat the level 91 monster and know that you can very easily use the dolmen to safe spot it. Once you defeat the first form, you'll then need to kill a second form. This time it'll be level 68. Once again, very safe spottable. Then after you're done with the second enemy, the final stage of the fight will begin, where you will need to defeat a level 93. Again, use the dolmen to safe spot the fight if needed. After you've defeated the enemy, take the corpse that appears on the dolmen and you'll need to then head back to Khan Isle. You can run back the way that you came, or alternatively using the DKP fairy ring to teleport to the CKR fairy ring is another great option to get you pretty close to Khan Isle quickly. Additionally, another Tybro Wannai teleport will get you about 60% of the way there. I decided to just use my glory to teleport to Karamja and run, as I didn't want to bother with going back out through the cave. After the arduous journey and the stress of crossing the bridge to Khan Isle, you'll want to search the well-stacked rocks again to head back down into the cave before running south to the dolmen. Use the corpse on the dolmen, and bam, quest complete. You'll be awarded access to Shilo Village, 3,875 crafting experience, and 2 quest points. Know that for 200 coins you'll be able to travel by cart from Brimhaven to Shilo Village and vice versa, and honestly this is a pretty great method of getting there. Another way is by following Mossel Ray, who was your quest star inside. After finishing the quest, you can also use many of the scrolls and various quest items with Yanni Salika in Shilo Village to offload them for around 1,800 coins. Then if you have 50 Slayer and 100 Combat, you'll gain access to Duradel as a Slayer Master who lives in Shilo Village. And finally, if you have level 40 mining, then you'll now be able to use the gem rocks, which can be accessed from the northwestern part of the village. Thanks for watching, catch you in the next quest!